Welcome back to the grand finale of our Explainer series. Today, we're pulling it all together. We're going to synthesize everything we've learned into one cohesive theory of economics that honestly, quite literally, has the potential to save the planet. We're looking at the ultimate vision of Dr. Walter R. Stahle's performance economy. It's a system that completely redefines how we think about growth, wealth, and sustainability.
Okay, let's dive right into the roadmap for today. We'll be covering beyond the linear economy, selling results, not objects, local labor, higher profits, preserving the planet's resources, and finally, global equity and justice. Let's get into it.
Section 1. Beyond the linear economy. To really understand where we're headed, we first have to wrap our heads around the flawed system we're leaving behind. The contrast here is just stark. Our traditional linear industrial economy? Well, it's basically a one-way street. We extract natural resources, we manufacture objects, ship them all over the globe, use them for a little bit, and then boom, dump them straight into a landfill or an incinerator. It's a system entirely built on throughput, literally measuring success by how fast we can turn valuable resources into waste. Crazy, right? But the performance economy changes all of that. By holding on to ownership of objects and selling them as a service, we shift over to a localized, dynamic ecosystem of operation, maintenance, and true circularity.
Think of our economy like a giant bathtub. In the old linear model, we're only measuring the water flowing out of the tap. That flow, that represents gross domestic product, or GDP. But true wealth isn't the water just rushing down the drain. True wealth management means caring for the actual stock of water already sitting in the tub. We're talking about our natural capital, our human capital, and our manufactured assets. The performance economy is all about maintaining the quantity and the quality of that stock for the longest possible time.
Moving to Section 2, selling results, not objects. Let's see how this creates a completely different kind of corporate strategy and how companies actually operate when they care about the stock instead of just the flow.
The absolute crucial point is this definition right here. The performance economy fundamentally means a business is selling you a guaranteed result. They aren't selling you the physical object, no, they're selling you the function. And because the manufacturer keeps ownership of that object, they are literally forced to internalize the costs of waste, the risks, and the liability. They absorb all those operational risks. So think about it. This creates a massive, massive financial incentive for them to design products for incredible longevity, completely flipping the script on planned obsolescence.
And hey, these aren't just hypothetical theories. Major industry heavyweights are already changing the game. Take Rolls-Royce, for example. They shifted from selling jet engines to selling what they call power by the hour. It's a total care package where they monitor their engines via satellite in real time, fixing them before they even break. Michelin shifted from selling truck tires to selling miles of motoring, managing entire fleets and retreading tires to drastically extend their lifespan. And Spenno, instead of selling new steel rails to train operators, they sell the service of perfectly ground rails right there on the tracks, reshaping the metal in situ to guarantee a smooth ride at half the cost of replacing them. They're all selling guaranteed performance. Section 3. Local labor, higher profits. Now, you might be wondering, what does this actually mean for jobs and the global workforce? Well, because manufacturers now own the life cycle of the product, their incentives are entirely flipped upside down. In a linear model, sure, you want cheap global labor to churn out endless replacements. But in the performance economy, you want highly skilled local labor to maintain, repair, and remanufacture your assets right in the communities where they're actively being used. Like, Michelin deploys mobile workshops to repair tires exactly where the trucks are parked. Spenna puts high-tech grinding trains right onto local railways. It totally eliminates those massive carbon-heavy global supply chains, replacing them with skilled, local, labor-intensive jobs that are focused entirely on preventive maintenance and loss prevention. To prove just how incredibly profitable this local remanufacturing model is, take a look at this number, 87%. When the German railway system had a fleet of high-speed trains that hit the end of their 15-year life, instead of buying new ones, they completely remanufactured them in regional workshops. They updated the interiors, upgraded the tech, and gave them a whole second 15-year life. That redesign process resulted in a staggering 87% financial savings compared to the cost of buying brand new trains. I mean, wow. Section 4. Preserving the planet's resources. Those huge financial wins, they translate directly into massive environmental victories. By choosing to upgrade their existing train stock rather than just scrapping it,
The German railway achieved something truly spectacular for the planet. They successfully preserved 16,500 tons of steel and all its embodied energy. They prevented an astonishing 35,000 tons of carbon emissions that would have been generated making new trains. And, by not digging up new raw materials, they prevented 500,000 tons of mining waste. All of that from just one single fleet of trains.
Now imagine scaling that up across the board. Expanding this service-based model across the entire economy proves that selling performance can drastically reduce total national CO2 emissions by up to 66%. By shifting our focus away from just churning out new objects and instead maximizing the use of existing ones through skilled local labor, we can actually achieve the kind of radical emissions reductions that our planet so desperately needs right now.
And that brings us to Section 5, Global Equity and Justice. This is where we look at the ultimate stakes of the performance economy, because this isn't just about corporate profits or local jobs. This is fundamentally about climate justice.
As Dr. Stale points out, true sustainability comes from a mindset of caring. True growth isn't about chewing through natural capital just to inflate some GDP number. It's about deeply valuing and maintaining the human and physical assets we've already created. You know, the resources of tomorrow are actually the goods of today, sitting right in front of us.
And this brings us to a really crucial global dynamic. We live in a world with finite resources, right? If the industrialized North keeps consuming natural resources in a linear fashion, there's simply going to be nothing left for the rest of the world. But by radically reducing emissions and preserving embodied resources in the industrialized North through this performance economy, we actually create ecological breathing room. We leave the raw materials in the ground, we keep the carbon budget intact, and that means developing nations can sustainably build their much-needed hospitals, schools, and transit systems. It's literally the mathematical path to achieving true global equity.
I'm going to leave you with this final thought. The shift from selling objects to guaranteeing results, it's already happening. Companies are seeing the profits, and the planet is seeing the massive benefits. But as we transition into this era of caring for our physical and human assets, how will you leverage this new economic model in your own industry to build a truly equitable world? Thank you so much for joining me on this Explainer series, and I really hope this gives you a powerful new lens to look at the future of our global economy.